So we have had our first test. The engine program, and I keep saying that unlike the other programs, because there are other business plan competitions that some of you have participated or are still participating, is that we, as much as possible, we try to minimize that subjective element in our scoring. And so, for each of you sitting here, your concepts were evaluated by 3 people, 3 unknown to each other, who did not know you, who, I wish we had brought a sample of the way the business plan was packaged and sent to the people. Because what we did was that your name was darkened, and then the name of your business, we just put something there so that the person doing it doesn't know you, doesn't know the type the business is doing. Just read that blank thing and then you get to know to score. So that is what we did, you know. And then as we go to add other methods of evaluation. So this is, for example, your business plan competitions. This is how they came. Once you submit, this is what we do. So I don't know this business. I don't know this one. And we keep them. The person who is giving this name number is different from the person who is handling and managing the database. So that as much as possible, we are human beings. We want to take out that human error. And then when the business plans were also evaluated, or the concepts were evaluated and brought, one person went through and made sure that the addition, everything was right, keyed in. And then another person also vetted that other person. So someone is always working on you just to make sure that. And it is not just like we're just doing it for fun, because for each stage that we did whatever we did, we had results, we had differences, and it improved on what it is, including even the additions of the people who scored. So here you see, for example, Judge 1, Judge 2, Judge 3, they are different things. If you can minimize it.
Okay. Let's take it this way. For concept number 0058, you see Judge 1, there's 1 there. It means it was vetted by Judge 1, Judge 3, and Judge 4.
And they gave the 3 judges gave different scores. So your overall average, your mark is, if you go to the extreme end. If you got 1, the lower your mark, the better your script. And the highest mark you got is 1. So anyone who got 1 meant that all the judges gave you 1. They scored you 1. And then it went down like that. So that is how, so you could see here that these people got 3-3. And that is how we were able to get the 20 concept instead of the 17 concept, because some people got the same scores. So this is how we went with grading your concept.
To add to what Baba is saying about the 17, the 20 instead of 17, this is how it came out. You see the last batch, you see 4 people scored 6.33, 6.33. So what do we do with this 6.33? And these are not absolute numbers that we can say that no. This is more like a positional arrangement. So you need to be careful with it. That's why we ended up taking 20 instead of 17. If you go down, you see the difference is wide, from 6.3 to 7.33. Even 7.33, 3 people got that score. So it means that even if we want to add 1 person to it, we can't. We have to add 3. if you go down, you will see all the 66. The lowest score was 17.67. That's it.
So this is what we did. There are a whole lot of reasons and philosophies behind this method of grading. Just to make sure that the thing is the same. And as we go on, we will still be using this type of grading, but we are introducing another tool for the screening. And each of us here will take a psychometric test. Each one of us here will take a psychometric test. So we have improved the selection criteria as we go. Now, the psychometric test is going to help us in two ways. To help us determine the winners, but to help us also give you that advice that we wouldn't know, because then it gives us a few things about your personality, which we would then help you to see how we can work on that. Some of us sitting here are dreamers, but we are not implementers. So we want to see how we can really help people to work on those weaknesses that they have, the inherent weaknesses that they have, and then we would move forward. So that is how the structure is. Okay, our test. I did a quick review of the test, and we all had some of the things that we wanted were looking at. I saw a lot of us were putting, or you want me to give you the answer before I tell you the score? Okay. The answer, and some of you wrote the answer in your own way, different, but it gave us comfort. All you need, quick, dirty, to determine your market size or the market size is the per capita consumption, and then the population size. Once you get this, you know roughly what the market of that commodity is. This is the quick and dirty thing that you need to get your thing. The other way that we can do a quick research here, we can sit in this room. We can sit in this room and do a quick research to determine the market size or something. All we do is to ask all of us how many tomatoes or biscuit, how many we eat per day, per month, and at the end of the day, this room can give us that sample, and then we would extend it to determine the size of the market. So even for our products, we can use this room to determine what to do, how to get the distance. So these are the small things we can use amongst our friends. We can just do a quick sample, and then okay, I'm on the right track, I'm not on the right track. A strong foundation. Now, what is this building a strong foundation? The exercise here is to help us do those initial things and see how to do our business plan. It's supposed to help us with what we call the business plan, the model, what we expect from you at the end of this period. So developing your business plan. There's a foundation. Then the foundation starts with your business concept, and then it also starts with doing a self-assessment of yourself. And then you also need to do and calculate your network before you even go into the business. You have your concept. You need to do your self-assessment. Am I ready to do that business? and then you do your net worth, and then you can begin describing what that company is. The next thing is to go into doing your feasibility. So you've been dreaming and you've done all these things. Because sometimes we tell someone, oh, I want to do this, and they say, are you sure you can do this thing? You cannot do it. Because they see that self-assessment, you can, you want to start a beer bar. Meanwhile, every day you take, your minimum is 5 bottles of Golden. You can't do that business. So your feasibility should begin with your products. You do the industry analysis. You look at your markets, and you look at the competition in that area. Then your third stage will be to construct the business. So you've done your feasibility, it is a goal. So you construct your business. What management team do I need? It may not from the beginning. You don't have to go and say you are hiring an accountant, you are hiring that, you are hiring that. No. You can do that with another person. You can look at having part-timers, different scenarios. All these will be given to you in greater detail as we go. You look at your marketing strategy. What type of marketing strategy will I use in selling my products? Operations. How am I going to structure my operations? Am I going to do it at home? What type of operations? Am I going to give it to someone to do it, and then I'll just do my labeling? Then you do your financial plans, and then you look at expansion. Sometimes we start a business and then we want to do the expansion immediately. And all other things is now your annex attached to that document you are submitting. Once you've done this, your business plan is written. So you start from your foundation looking at these things, you develop into your feasibility, you go into the construction of the business plan, and then your business plan is ready. Now this could be for a startup, it could be for an existing business where you want to expand or add on new products. Then you write your executive summary. Make sure you have an executive summary. I've been reading a lot of executive summaries for my business, and in a lot of the things, if you can't write it, your executive summary, for serious business, get someone to really read it and help you prune it down. An executive summary is that document the chief executive is reading and walking into his office. He doesn't have time. As much as possible, if you can do it in 1 page, you're cool. And it brings out everything. You don't go in an executive summary and describing the management structure in that detail and this man is doing that. No. It has to be a snapshot like that. And the person is reading and understands everything that your business is all about. So, there's an exercise here that we have to do, and you have those slips in your back. There's a self-assessment form, and then there's a net worth statement for us to determine. We will answer the questions. So if you have filled that thing, the self-assessment, have you all filled them? Because they were all given to you, or you can fill them now. went for the break. We'll come back and we have to answer some of these questions that are on the board. What parts of the activity did you find challenging? What did you learn from this self-assessment?
Although I know myself to a large extent, but I think that for the very, very first time, I have thought through it and put it on paper.
So
my strengths and my weaknesses.
For the first time, you are beginning to look at yourself properly.
I learned that my person as a myself cannot be separated from the success of my entrepreneurial efforts. So I need to know who I am to achieve what I want to achieve.
Why do you think that your personality and your stylistic choices have to do with, why do they have to do with your business?
Your business had to be, your personality dictates a lot because you are what? Your business is you. If your business has been honesty, integrity and other things, if it is carved into your business, then people will see there are some kind of businesses you will see it has a trademark.
Yeah, knowing yourself also gives you the ability to discover who actually you are, your purpose in life, as well as knowing your unique selling propositions, as in what actually you can give out that is distinctive to the other person. And by way of you discovering that, it gives you the ability to provide a specific service that is so much distinctive, or having something unique to be presented to the entire public.
And for an investor to invest in any business, the number one thing he or she looks at is the management team. And the management team are the people behind the business and their personality and style comes along.
Okay, so we've looked at doing how to self-assessment. I think it's a continuous process. We can keep refining this. Now, the essence of doing a self-assessment within your business context is to be able to see who you are. That will influence to a large extent the type of team you bring. You may be that person who is, you are not that critical in looking at things. So you want to see that, look, the people around you are the guys who are very critical. You want to find talents or people who can complement your effort. So you need to know your personality. You need to see the type of business. There are certain businesses that, because of your personality, there's no way you go in and you succeed. And when I started, I said, in this year's or this context, we're going to introduce a tool to help us also gauge people and see how we can help them overcome certain weaknesses that they have. Now, just this afternoon, as we were walking around, I was discussing something with Larry, and a question came that when we talk of success, let's say you are managing your business, you are the guy who is the moving, and you are achieving. Is it by your effort or is it by the effort of the team? Most often than not, you may think that you are the guy moving the thing, and so you are successful. But you've forgotten that you are working with a certain group of people who are moving you. If you make the mistake, just like we are working in offices, we make the mistake and we are like, look, engine, we are dragging it. You make the mistake and move to another organization and set up engine, you will fail because the people around you are not thinking like the other group of people who are around you. So you need to know your personality and how you can blend. Many years ago, I met a guy who was telling me something. He's a manager. He called me into his office and said, look, listen to what people do, what people say. Whatever you are achieving is not by your effort, but it is by the team. And he made this, showed me some writer where there was this guy, he was the best in the organization. He's an orator, he speaks and he can move everyone. And so one day he had a problem with his staff, and then he said, "Foolish guys, don't you think that, look, I am the guy who is moving this thing. It's because of me that you are all here." And then, so the guy, this is the guy he was addressing is actually his speech writer. He writes the speeches. So he got, and they know that this guy, his boss, is the guy who doesn't read. When you give him a file, he doesn't open it. He waits until he's in the meeting before he opens the file. So they've studied and known him, and the guys also know that, look, this is the way he is. So they've actually supported him up to that point. So the day he made that mistake and insulted these guys, they gave him the file. That day, it was a make or break speech for him in his career. So they took a paper and just scribbled, "You are on your own now. Prove it today." And put it in the file. So the guy now walks into this audience and they started shouting, "Hey!" And then he opens the file. All he saw was, "You are on your own. Prove it." And people were sitting waiting for this guy to deliver that powerful speech. And that was the end of the guy. The essence was that, look, work with the team, respect the team you are working with. But to put that team together, to work with the people, whether they are customers, they are your management team, they are whatever they are, your bankers, whatever, you have to know who you are and how to deal with these people. So it is important for all of us to know where we are and who we are and how we interact. I think as we discuss this and we go on, we will see how it impacts on the decisions and what we take. Now the next exercise is about the network. How to get and calculate your network and what importance it plays in your business decision. Now this is a simple thing here, which is that some people manage their money well by instincts. They are rare. Effective money management usually requires tools to help us become more conscious of the good news and bad news about our habits. Without assessing the good news and the bad news, you cannot know where you are on the road to realizing your entrepreneurial dreams. First step, where are you now? If you apply for a loan, you will need to submit a net worth statement. A net worth statement shows you your assets, liabilities, and net worth on a given date. Now, assessing your net worth will show you your starting point for reaching your financial goals, how much money you can commit to your entrepreneurial ventures. Important vocabularies: assets, liability, and net worth. So this is a statement that we have produced for some young man with his assets being 30,000 Ghana cedis and his liabilities being 48,000 Ghana cedis. Now, if you look at this, if you deduct the liabilities, and liabilities simply are money or things you owe to people. So your liabilities are your owings, and then your assets are the things you have. So if you knock off the assets you have against the liabilities or the owings you owe to people, what is left is your net worth. And then in this particular example, your net worth is negative. Now the question is, what does Ya's network suggest about her spending habits? What does it suggest? This simple statement is telling us that she owes more people than she has. So what does it tell you about? It means that this is a person who is just on the spending spree but has little assets. So the day they come and they say they want to sell all that she has, there will be nothing. They may have to sell the body. Now, the second question is yes.
Sorry. Can it also be that she doesn't like repaying her debts, so she keeps just accumulating debts?
It could also suggest that she's always renewing her debts. So she takes this one, when it is due and she can't pay, she goes to another person and robs to pay all. And then she's going up and down. Yes.
Sir, there's a fundamental question. What does he use the money for?
Exactly.
If she's borrowing and doesn't like to pay, and she uses it to acquire something that is owned, then it will be represented in the assets. But if you use it to go for holidays, it's gone.
So you see Ya's thing. And then to add to what Larry said, if she's buying asset, then your asset will equal the liabilities. But in this particular case, what Ya has used her money for is not represented in the asset. So there's a leakage. So she's taking the money and she's blowing the house. So this is to start off how we begin looking at ourselves in terms of how we manage our money and how we want to implement our business concepts. If just from our own mega resources, when we look at what we owe people and what people owe us, they will knock together. Where does it lie? How do we address that? That is the beginning of the engagement process for any business, any person who wants to go into business. If you go there, you don't have, you owe, nobody is going to look at you. So this is to set the tone for us to begin to look at that. So the question is, time, so we'll just go to the last part. That what do your personal financial habits have to do with your business? That's the bottom line. Your personal financial habits, what does it have to do with your business? Is there any relationship between your personal financial habits and your business? There is? So if you are the spending type, you get the money, you spend it, and the business is suffering. And that is what this wants to tell us. That let us draw a line between our personal, our financial habits and our businesses. Otherwise, we'll keep going into the business, and that is what kills a lot of the businesses we have, where businesses are suffering and the owners are driving in the latest V8s and things like that, or they're in holidays in Bahamas. The next thing is, how do we construct or construct the company that we are thinking of? So I've given you an outline which you all have. The outline is your business, how the business plan should look like. And the outline, this is the outline that the training follows, and it is going to be the suggested format that we're going to use for this business plan competition. You'll be able to write this section of the business plan as you move through the training. So for each level of the training and the outline, what we want to do is to give you that skill that allows you to write that. Intensive research will force you to refine your concept along the way. And then the first section of your business plan is the company. So the foundation. We've looked at that, which is the business concept we all did. Our business concepts. Today we looked at our self-assessment. We've seen the problems we have. We've looked at the network statement, what it means for our personal to separate our financial habits from our business. Now we want to look at our company as we describe them in what we want to do. So we are going over, this is the pillar on which we are writing our business plan, yes. We want to take you through what it looks like. And this is what we try to summarize, that writing the mission and your vision statements, refining the current business concept. So what you have, your product, the primary customer, the benefit of the products, distribution, environmental impact, the management team, the business location. We would look at that. This is what is describing what your business is all about. Now our main focus now would be to look at the business, the initial concepts and your self-assessments. What are the values? When you were doing your initial business concept, what were the values? After doing your self-assessment, what are the values that you have looked at? Now these together will determine your vision, which is the highest form of your thinking. The vision is the highest form of the thinking, what you see that no one else sees. And then your mission, which is the next level. And then the lower level is your goals, your objectives, your action plans towards that mission, and then the vision. So for every business concept or any business that they're doing, you have a vision. And your vision is influenced by the values that you have and the values that the business also has. The values of the owners and the values of the business as an entity. Now, you cannot do any serious business, start any business, any serious company without having that vision. And so this is the vision, which is the highest, the idealistic stage of your business concept. This forms the basis of describing who you are, the company, what the company is. Now for each one of us sitting here, there are times that you are working and somebody's, something happens in that area and someone looks at just the scene, the way it happened, and they know that no, it is this guy who did it. Because it tells a lot about you. It's your value system tells that story that it is this person. So for a business, the business has to have that identity. And the identity is driven by the vision the owners have. The questions that we want to ask as we're talking and looking at values and things is that, what is a value? And value statements. Now, values are traits or qualities that are considered worthwhile. They represent our highest and deeply held driving forces. That is your value. That is who you are. So, even as individuals, if we don't have values, we cease to be individuals. As businesses, if your business doesn't have that value, it ceases to be a business. So it is your values and the value statements that you would use to develop that vision that you have. So value statements are grounded in values and define how people want to behave with each other in the organization. Some also say that there are statements about how the organizations would value its customers, suppliers, and the external or internal community. They describe actions which are the living enactment of fundamental values held by most individuals within the organization. So in TechnoServe, what are our values? What are our values? One of our values is risk-taking. Risk-taking. Take risk. And so the work culture in TechnoServe, if you come, the first time you enter TechnoServe, you think that there is just, there's no organization. Because everybody, you take your